So last night's video talking about the Seattle Kraken's very first NHL game kind of took a little bit of a shot at the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, I know I said to Golden Knights fans, guys, just be quiet, you had your moment, you won the game, move on. Let us revel in our frustrations with how that last goal was called on Chandler Stevenson. This video is about Vegas, though. Because when it comes to the game yesterday, one of the biggest things that I saw amongst social media people who were cheering for the Vegas Golden Knights was the sentiments about Marc-Andre Fleury. Because right away, from puck drop, seeing the saves that Robin Lehner made, seeing the goals that Robin Lehner let in, the number one thing that I was hearing from this fan base was, man, I miss Fleury. He was our franchise-defining guy. He was the man who represented the Knights. When you thought of the Golden Knights, you thought of Fleury. From day one, he was that guy. And now he's gone, and now I'm sad. And we have ourselves a little bit of a thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to that Marc-Andre Fleury, because earlier this week, there was an article posted on the Las Vegas Review-Journal talking about Marc-Andre Fleury, and a really interesting piece of information that might have just been revealed about the trade over to Chicago. Now, if you remember the trade, it was Marc-Andre Fleury 1-for-1 to the Blackhawks for Mikhail Hakkarainen, who was a player that was kind of just an AHL, ECHL kind of guy, really not an established NHL name. And on paper, this is a terrible trade. An AHL borderline NHL guy for a starting goaltender who just won the Vezina. Furthermore, you had the word that Marc-Andre Fleury did not know about the trade until it was done because he saw it on Twitter. He found out about the trade on Twitter, and it got even worse when, just a little bit later, the Vegas Golden Knights placed Hakkarainen on unconditional waivers for the purpose of mutual contract termination. So, they essentially traded Fleury for nothing, if you want to take a look at it that way. The big controversy with Fleury and the Blackhawks after he was traded over there was whether or not he would actually play. There was this sentiment going around that Fleury really loved it in Vegas. He really liked spending time in that environment. The fans loved him as well, and as a result, it was really difficult for him to get the news that, okay, you're not going to be there anymore. You're going to go somewhere else. And because he's already 36 years old, it's like, okay, is there even a reason to still continue playing? I've already won all these Stanley Cups. I'd made the finals 2 more times. And what? Now I'm in a place that I'm unfamiliar with at the end of my career. My family is happy in Vegas. I was happy in Vegas. Now we're not in Vegas anymore. I need to talk it out with my folks, see if we can actually agree on what to do here. Eventually, he started to play, and now he is on the Blackhawks. However, this article from the Las Vegas Review-Journal goes over what happened before Fleury was traded. This is the article in question. Ruthless people. Golden Knights remained dogged in pursuit of a title. The link will be in the description below. It's from October 9th, written by David Schoen. If you scroll down in the piece, you take a look at what they write about the social media leaks. Yes, the leaks where Fleury found out about the trade via Twitter. Let's read a little paragraph it says here. Fleury found out on Twitter the trade was about to be completed rather than receiving a courtesy call from the team, according to his agent, Allan Walsh. The Golden Knights do not dispute that assertion, but counter that GM Kelly McCrimmon was in contact with Fleury and his camp leading up to the deal. That communication stopped when the president of hockey operations, George McPhee, said Walsh started working behind the scenes to sabotage the trade by telling teams that Fleury would retire. Walsh did not return multiple voicemail and text messages seeking a comment from Las Vegas Review-Journal. That's one part of it. We'll go ahead and look at the comments from George McPhee a little bit after. But if this is the case, then okay, there's another entirely different layer to this story than we thought to have had at the beginning. Yes, Marc-Andre Fleury was traded. Yes, it was a difficult move to comprehend and actually internalize, but no, I don't really think anybody was surprised to see it go down. Ever since Robin Lehner made his debut with the Vegas Golden Knights, there was always this sentiment that having 2 elite number 1 goaltenders as your goaltending tandem, while beneficial in terms of who's going to be in the pipes, doesn't really make for the best team dynamic. You're not going to have your number 1 guy. You're going to have 2 number 1 guys. You're not going to have one guy to be the face of your net. You're going to have some guy playing his heart out. Once he lets in a bad goal, okay, the other guy comes in and now it's his net to lose. It's a very different dynamic with not too many NHL teams employing that kind of strategy, and because of how foreign it is, it was easy to see once Robin Lehner came on to the Vegas Golden Knights that, okay, Fleury or Lehner, one of these guys is going to have to go at some point in the near-term future. We're not going to have Lehner-Fleury for an extended amount of time. We had it for a few years, but it's not going to last that long. So Fleury being traded, all in all, if you take a look at the context, isn't the most surprising thing in the world. It's just now when we learn here from this article that once the Golden Knights were talking to Allan Walsh and Fleury saying, hey, we're probably going to trade you, we're probably going to send you somewhere else, we're going to put you on the block, we want to have Lehner as our guy, sorry Fleury, no hard feelings, only to have the response from the agent apparently going around to other NHL teams saying, hey, you know, if you trade for Marc-Andre Fleury, he's going to retire, so don't trade for him, buddy. All of a sudden, it makes a lot more sense now why the Golden Knights would not have contacted Fleury or his agent about any potential trades that would have gone down. Sure, it sucks that he found out via Twitter, but it's so common courtesy to let your players know that they've been traded before it gets publicly released that it was so weird to me to even think that an NHL team would trade the guy without telling him. Nevertheless, a guy like Marc-Andre Fleury, who was the face of this franchise since its inception in 2017. It was just way too weird, way too fishy, and now we know why. Had the Golden Knights told Marc-Andre Fleury about this trade, who knows if their idea was, okay, Allan Walsh is probably just going to call Chicago, hey, no, cancel the trade, he's going to retire. And then they say, okay, no, sorry, we're not going to do this trade anymore. And then Fleury stays in Vegas, you know? Allan Walsh is known for going out there and doing the best that he can for his clients because he is just that dedicated of a guy. But this kind of throws an entirely new perspective into the story that he was trying to sabotage the trade, apparently, by telling teams that Fleury would retire. Kelly McCrimmon couldn't have handled it any better, George McPhee said. They knew they were being traded. If you're doing what's right for the organization and you are honest with the players, you've got nothing to apologize for. Ever. And again, we're telling the truth. So, just from the way these quotes are reading, it does not appear that the Vegas Golden Knights feel sorry about this at all. It's a lot more of a, oh, it's your fault, so why do I have to feel bad because I wronged you kind of feeling, I guess. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm going to take sides or anything here. Sure, from all angles, it is unfortunate that a franchise goaltender like this, who has been so impactful for this organization, who is so successful at the beginning, like Vegas, has to depart this way, not knowing that he was getting traded and all that, but based off of the context around it with this piece in mind, it makes a lot more sense today than it did back when the trade was made, I'll tell ya. Like, the Vegas Golden Knights in my mind were just so absolutely different, and that's the word I'm going to use, different. Not going to use smart or dumb or whatever, like, it's different. It's like, okay, how would you even think that's appropriate? Trading a guy like this without telling him. But I guess there was the other stone that was unturned now. This article after the Fleury thing goes over other NHL players and how sometimes they find out that they've been traded via Twitter and all that stuff. It talks about Mark Stone, for example. But ending things off on the Marc-Andre Fleury thing, this is what Knights broadcaster Mike McKenna said. I can understand both sides of the Fleury situation, but I would have liked to have seen that handled differently. The player in me. It's something that goes a long way toward your people, your players, when they know they're going to at least have an opportunity to soak things in rather than find out in ways via Twitter. That's how people want to find out. Who knows if maybe they could have just called up Fleury by himself or not had the agent involved in this. I know it's really unrealistic to do that, and I definitely am not speaking in my lane here since I'm just a random guy on YouTube who doesn't really know anything about the NHL. But it is kind of unfortunate, you know? That's just it. That's the word I'm going to use for it. Unfortunate all the way around because Walsh was trying so hard to make sure that his client got what he wanted, to the point where he would go out there and talk to other teams in a way that's probably not really all too ethical, but I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes, I guess. So talk to me in the comments, what do you think about this entire thing over here? The Vegas Golden Knights trading Fleury and not letting him know, not because they're just an evil organization, but because the agent might have gone out there and sabotaged said trade had the agent and Fleury himself known. Talk to me in the comments, what do you think? I hope you enjoyed. This was Josh Rolls 99, and bye.